So when we're talking about framing, again, it's not really something that you're going to be able to put eyes on during the whole, unless you're walking a new house, building a new house. But there are a couple of things that you can really look out for. I put this in there just to give you an idea of the terminology. Like, it's a water heater. It's not a hot water heater. Drives plumbers absolutely crazy. Okay, it doesn't heat hot water. It heats water. So again, you know, the foundation, and then with the framing, the studs and the joists and the subfloor and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's just really for your reference. You know, if you're going to keep that hand up. But there are metal studs, there are wood studs. There are a number of different ways to frame a house. The two most popular are. Oh, I put this one in there for you too. Okay, terminology. What makes a rough opening? What is a header? The header is up above any window or door. Can you not read it?
No.
We
can't read it on here.
If you need anything, you've all got my cards. Email me if you need anything. Just shoot me a quick email. I've got all this stuff on my hard drive.
I can send them all the actual PowerPoint after this.
That would be great. That would be great. That way you can just be able to reference things. Yeah.
200%.
Yeah. That's okay. Again, I put that in there just kind of for your reference. So when you're talking with the difference between a cripple or a jack and a king stud and headers and things like that. Okay.
I don't see a difference.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to talk about, well, what kind of studs are up above a window when it's actually called a header, and the size of the header, because this is supporting all the weight that's up above this window. The window is not structural, okay? Or the door is not structural. It's designed to open and close. It's not designed to carry hold up the wall. So the size of the header, it depends on what is up above it. Is it brick? Is it stone? Is it regular framing? Is it the roof? Is there nothing up above there? Is it a single family, is it a rambler where there's just, 2 feet and then the roof kind of thing? So, okay, again, it's just being able to talk like a contractor when you're with a client. Not like most, hey, yo, contractors. But again, it's more about, I don't know, being in sales, where it's all about how you present yourself, and you don't have to, it's knowing a little bit about a lot of stuff. Okay, you don't have to be an expert. All you have to know is, listen, that header, obviously, if we decide to take this single window and turn it and cut a massive hole in the wall and make it a big picture window, we're going to have to make sure that we change the header out, because that header right now is only designed to carry this much weight. If we go this wide, not only do you just cut the wall and put the window in, but you got to cut everything up top, figure out how to carry the weight, and then maybe it might take more of the king studs, okay? Things like that. Know enough that you don't, and to realize that you don't know everything. That's what my dad always said.
Is there an indication how to tell if a wall is load bearing or not?
Sure.
And?
You learn. Yeah, you learn. Well, it depends. It depends on the layout of the house.
Right.
Because I can walk through and figure it out based on where the trades are running and where chases are and where openings are and things like that. Because I can build a house this way. The other builder could build the exact same house this way. It depends on how it's drawn and the engineers and things like that. So, best thing is to just call me. Typically if it's running down the center of the house, there are beams. The outside of the house, they're considered beams, so they're load bearing, obviously. But then if there's one structure running down the middle, there's probably a beam in there. That's a load bearing wall, whether it's on the first floor or the second floor or down bottom. A lot of times also you can go into the basement
Go in the basement.
and see where the beams are. You know, if it's an unfinished basement, you see where the I-beams
Because I
are.
think that that's like a main
Because
question
that-
that
yeah.
agents have is
Yeah.
like, oh, I like this,
People
but I
always
wanna
wanna
open
open
up
that
the
wall.
wall, like,
Mhm.
yeah,
But
look
that's
at
usually
that.
the easiest thing, is go in the basement.
Yeah,
which way
see where the
it's
beams are.
going.
You see where the beams are. See where the posts are, and those, and because your load-bearing walls are going to run right up above those. Okay. My typical is anything can be done.
Right, that's right.
You know,
There's not much to
depends on what the county will let me do and how many zeros in the check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the two main ways to frame a house. So it was stick built, which is you just have a pile of lumber done and you have finished carpenters come in and you put the thing together. Now what they do is they engineer the roof trusses and things like that, which makes it a lot quicker, a lot easier if you are going to stick build it. Some builders prefer to stick build it because they can make changes on the fly. Have a client come through and say, I don't like that small window anymore, I want the big one. Okay, we can just kind of take it down and redo it. The panelized is getting very, very popular, mainly because of the speed at which you can get a house under roof. Okay, depending on the size of the house and the crew, you can usually have a house under roof in a panelized situation in 2 days.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. There are local companies around here that will do it. They build it on a big assembly line, and it's panel A, panel B, panel C, and you just put it together. Boom, 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 and
Does
it
that
goes
have the
together.
same structural integrity as the stick built?
Absolutely,
My understanding
absolutely.
it's got better because you've got more code that's watching after. I mean, you don't have to worry about a county inspector missing this or that or somebody, but.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's
Weather.
the theory. The theory is everything gets inspected. So and every panel that, even when they're doing, when we're doing panelized, doesn't include all the trades or any of the electrical or anything like that. So an inspector still comes through and checks all the trades. And at that time, see, if you call for a plumbing inspection, that inspector has the right to inspect anything. He can turn and look at the framing and say that's wrong and fail your framing inspection. Okay? They're not there just to do the plumbing. Okay? So they have the right to walk on any time, at any point, and perform an inspection, even if you don't request one. All right? It's happened many times before. But the nice thing about the panelized is, again, if you stick build something, it's going to be weeks, usually. And the issue is water. Even if you get the walls built, the roof sheathing on it, and get the felt paper on there, the wood is going to get wet. Black mold. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about black mold. Everybody knows what it is. It's still a huge issue. There's actually rumors of a class action suit coming down against DuPont for the use of Tyvek. Again, that's the rumor. Okay. That's the rumor. So, from what I understand, in a stick-built type of a situation, you get everything framed up, you get put on all the sheathing, which is the plywood on the outside, you get the thing under roof. Windows are still open, but it's raining and the wind's blowing in, and we've all walked construction sites where you're on the second floor walking through what's going to be the master bathroom, and there's a massive puddle in the middle of the floor, okay, on the plywood. The wood gets wet. It's not allowed to dry out, okay, because gotta get it built. So what they do is they wrap the outside in Tyvek, okay, to protect the house. It's already got the Tyvek on it, but the water's still getting into the windows and the roof is leaking a little bit, whatever. Allegedly, Tyvek doesn't breathe as well as they advertise. It's designed as a vapor barrier. It's designed to allow vapor to escape from the walls and prevent water from entering the walls, okay? So what they do is they wrap the house, then what you're supposed to do is cut the Tyvek off, put up a true vapor barrier like a felt paper that they use underneath roofing, cover it with that or a Hardy wrap. There are a number of manufacturers that make it specifically for James Hardy or whatever, and then put your masonry, your siding, whatever up. These builders, they came in, they just put it right over the Tyvek. Now the wood's wet, can't get out through the masonry. Which way is it going to go? You insulate, put up drywall, throw some, and mold's going to grow. Mold will grow on a concrete sidewalk if given the right conditions. So now it's going like this. Like DuPont's blaming the builders for not following their procedures. Well, I was never told about the procedures. Why isn't it, why is it that the Tyvek doesn't breathe as well? So anytime I do a siding or a masonry job, I shy away from Tyvek.
Yeah, because they were selling that as what you wrap your house in before you put the siding on.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's you're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly
I've
right.
never heard of taking it off and putting sheeting on.
Yep. Putting a true vapor, so I'll use 15-pound felt paper. If I'm doing a siding project, not even new construction, just replacement, I'll use 15-pound felt paper, or I'll use, Hardy actually makes one that is that's very permeable. You know, so it'll keep the water out, but it allows all the moisture to escape. Okay. And yet I digress.
Craig, can you comment very, very briefly on, and a little bit, it's just so education for me too, on in trusses and joists, LVL versus, other lumber, 2x10s, et cetera?
Sure. You know, there are a number of different.
People can either recognize it or
Right.
pros and cons.
There are a number of different types of lumber out there that are used for different applications. There's ground contact lumber that is pressure treated, that is specifically designed to set in the ground, and it has a higher concentration of copper. They don't use arsenic anymore. Everybody knows that, right? The old pressure treated was they used arsenic, and it's a carcinogen. So now they use copper, which drove the price of the pressure treated lumber through the roof. But so there's more copper in ground treated lumber than in regular pressure treated lumber. Same thing with the structural lumber. They have number ones, they have number twos, they have number threes, and it's all based on the number of knots and the size of the knots in the lumber, because a knot has the potential, it's very, very strong, but it has the potential to fall out and compromise the structural integrity of that board. And then there are steel beams and what are called LVLs, which are engineered wood. They're usually, and it depends, everything is based on your engineering drawings. So, like I said, know enough to realize that you don't know everything. You have an engineer come in and he'll say, use a 12-foot, 6-inch LVL for that span, and that's what you put in there. Okay. Then you can also, they double up 2x12s, or triple 2x12s, 2x10s, 2x8s. But usually, all the structural elements have to be number one lumber. Okay. Very, very few knots, and it's all based on the number of knots, the spacing, and the size. Okay.
Are the LVLs, are those the ones that you're able to knock out holes to put, like, to redirect plumbing and stuff like that without compromising the structure?
Yes, there are in the LVLs. You have to stay. It depends. It's same thing. It depends on the size of the LVL, or even a 2x12. You're allowed to drill holes in a 2x12 or a 2x10 or a 2x8. It depends on the size of the hole. If you're running plumbing, you've got to use a 2x12 because it's a 2-inch hole for an 1.5-inch pipe, and it has to stay a certain distance off the bottom and a certain distance off the top, so you have a really narrow kind of channel to be able to drill those holes. Okay. If you're just running electrical wire and you're drilling a 5/8 hole for an electrical wire, you can drill it through a 2x8 because it's not going to compromise the structural integrity of that board. Okay? So, again, engineers. That's why I hire them. You tell me, because I have a highly educated guess, but I'm not going to let my house stand on guesses. You know? And then same thing with the trusses. You know, there are finished carpenters that will come in, and if it's a straight gable roof like that, that's very, very easy to do. But if you start getting into hip roofs and, attics, you want attic space up there, and you have the trusses engineered, and a truss company will build it and then drop it right on site, and it's the same thing. It's a puzzle, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? Yeah, I love the panelized stuff. So, indications of poor framing. I don't know if you can really tell here, but it's a level on a wall that's already been finished, unfortunately, and the wall bows. Okay? Once the drywall's up, it becomes very, very difficult to do. So what I do is I go through I have a 6 and an 8 foot level on a wall, and I put it up against there, and if it rocks, I know that this stud is too high. Okay, it's too far towards me if it's in the middle, or I look back there and see if things bow and stuff like that. You really have to you know, be aware of those things. But that's about all you can do. Once everything's finished, have a level in your car. Invest in a 4-foot level. You don't have to carry the big mammy jammies that I do, because I just keep them in the back of my truck. Have a 4-foot level that you can go over to, and, you know, on a doorway. See if it looks a little funky. Just, yeah, that's you know, something settling over here, or on a wall. You can kind of, if it looks like it's bowed, it's a great way to just kind of, again, show your knowledge and show that you're prepared for something like this.
Good for floors too. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
floors as
how
well.
many times you walk into a house and you're like, visually, you're like, I'm pretty sure that's not level.
Golf
Bring a
ball.
marble.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, keep a golf
Golf
ball
ball.
or marble or
Yep.
whatever.
And then obviously, if you're in a basement and you see holes that just seem way too big, they eat up too much. Again, common sense comes into play a lot. Joe homeowner decides to, you know, move his toilet, and he, you know, drills a massive hole in a 2x10, and there's nothing left of the thing in that spot. You know, those are the kind of red flags that same thing. You know what? That's not right. We're going to get somebody in here. Call AmeriCode or call me or call somebody to come in and inspect it. Okay? If you don't catch it early, that's what you end up with. I think that's supposed to be some sort of hip roof, or there's an alien spaceship hiding underneath the about to Transformers. You know, if you don't catch this early in the process, it becomes a 30-year nightmare. Okay? Not only for you as an agent, because what's going to happen is, yeah, holy moly, Tom sold me this house, and the roof leaks like a flippin'. I've put $10,000 into this roof to try and fix it. You know, what the heck? No matter what, once you touch it, you own it. We all know that, right? So, you know, that needs to be caught early, okay, in the framing process and in the drawings and things like that.